Today we are testing the largest EV we have ever had on the channel. This is the brand new Mercedes-Benz eSprinter. We've always been a fan of the Sprinter, but this one is 100% electric. And today we're going to find out, does it really make sense to go all electric on a vehicle like this? Like most Sprinters, these are large cargo vans. In Canada, this comes as a high roof version. This thing is long, 23 feet long with a 170-inch wheelbase, and it is 9 feet tall. Open up the side door. This is the manual one. You can actually opt for a power door as an option. You can also add another door onto the driver's side as well. Speaking of power, behind the front TriStar emblem, just give it a push, and you get both your level 2 and level 3 chargers right there, cleverly hidden. There are so many ways you can customize your Sprinter just like the regular one. You can actually put rear windows on here. There's even side windows. Now the eSprinter is only available in the cargo van version. You cannot get a passenger version of this, but open up the back and you'll get this wide, perfectly square opening. Look at the opening here, it's so square, but if you want even more width, you just pull out these hinges and the door swings all the way to the side of the van, just like that. Now you have an unobstructed entry point to load whatever you need in or out. Getting into the back, we do have grab handles on the side as well as the back. This is kind of bare bones because everyone has different needs. If you're going to be a courier driver, you're going to install shelves, maybe you're going to use this as a trades vehicle, maybe put a workbench in here, but there are plenty of tie-down hooks on the floor area and lots of installation hooks on the wall as well. You get some basic lighting in here, but you could actually customize it however you want. Standard, you do get this nice solid bulkhead, which is going to separate what's back here from the cabin. Inside, unless you're taller than 6'7", you're going to be able to fully stand with this high roof. Total cargo capacity is 13.8 cubic meters or 487 cubic feet. Be aware the eSprinter does have a reduced payload compared to the diesel version, so it comes in at 1,190 kilos, which is 2,624 pounds of payload, which is still quite a bit. I remember driving a Sprinter years and years and years ago. I'm thinking probably close to 20 years ago, and man, have they come a long ways in terms of comfort. We're talking heated steering wheel and seats. You get a 10.25-inch screen with the latest MBUX system with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The steering wheel controls are right out of any other Mercedes-Benz product. There's lots of storage even in front of the dash, overhead, in the door. Along with a backup camera, this eSprinter is equipped with a digital rear view mirror, which is an even added bonus. Like most Mercedes products, the eSprinter is equipped with a plethora of advanced safety features, but one which is actually not talked about very often is crosswind assist. Maybe not as important in a small sedan, but when you're driving a large, high-roof cargo van like this, you're driving essentially as a big sail. And when big gusts of wind come, especially like on bridge decks and things like this system will detect that and actually use the stability management system to help control the vehicle. And that's a huge, huge plus on here. Another thing that I'm not sure if you're aware of, but Mercedes products has this feature is, for instance, I'm going to put myself into drive right now. Well, let's just even go to reverse. We're back up a little bit. Now we'll go drive. We're going to drive forward. I'm still in drive. Now, when I open the door, the vehicle automatically switches to park. And this is a big feature, especially if you are a delivery driver and you're making lots of stops. And sometimes, things get in your head and you're busy and you may forget to put it in park. And you might get out and the vehicle is going to get away from you. That has happened. Unfortunately, the results were not good. And also, there was this one story, and it's a very, very sad story, where there's a gentleman, it wasn't a Sprinter van, it was a different vehicle, and he was in a fast food drive-through. He was going, and he went to pay, he dropped his payment card. He went to open the door, and for some reason somehow slipped, or somehow, you know, his foot came off the brake, and as the door was open and he reached down, the vehicle went forward, the door hit the big huge posts that they have here, and he was actually crushed. And yeah, so these things do happen. Really, really nice plus. If you do need to bypass it, for instance, if I'm going in drive right now, I'm gonna go open that, it's gonna go in park, but now with the door open, if I go into drive, it will activate. And you know, there are sometimes you may need that option, but it's gonna give you lots of warnings though. There's a large area between the driver and the passenger seat. I'm sure you can actually probably customize some sort of a console if you want. So maybe just left a blank here for your own customization. I do like the adjustable armrests here, and it's actually very comfortable driving this. So let's go for a drive. Start the eSprinter up. Virtually silent, as you would expect with an EV, but you don't really expect complete silence in a vehicle like this, actually. And we are on a gravel road right now. Just to give you an example of how quiet it is, it's surprising. It's really, really surprising. Especially you have this bulkhead behind you, which really, once again, isolates what's back there. Normally, you know, if you'd had things rattling around there, you don't hear it all in here. So, on the road. Okay, so what is powering this eSprinter if it's not a diesel engine? Well, you have two choices of actual power plants. You have a 100 kilowatt or an optional 150 kilowatt motor. It's a rear wheel drive only. And the difference between the two is only like $1,500. Not a lot of difference. If you want more power, go for the more powerful one, of course, but more power is going to use more energy. So the regular one puts out 136 horsepower and the high output 204 horsepower. Both give you 295 pound-feet of torque, and Mercedes-Benz says for 30 seconds. So I'm sure after 30 seconds of providing that maximum torque, it's going to actually probably reduce itself, probably just to save the battery. 30 seconds is a long time, unless you're going up a real long mountain pass or anything. I don't think there's any issue. Now, I've been driving this for a week, and I haven't noticed anything. However, I have not been carrying any substantial payload. Just be aware of that. I really wish I did. I have nothing to move, I have nothing to pick up, unfortunately, this week. So I might have to actually try to get this back one day when we have actually something to actually move. So I'm just taking off of the light right now. Okay, acceleration is not mind-blowing. You are not going to win any drag races with this eSprinter at all. Not even with a regular diesel Sprinter. You do feel the torque. Once you get going though, we're going up a hill, it feels great. It feels great. But off the line acceleration, it is probably one of the most sluggish vehicles that I've driven in a long time off the line. But then you got to think, what kind of vehicle is this? If I have a ton of parcels in the back, or I've got a workbench back there, or you know, things that could roll around, you know, just lots of weight, you don't want that type of acceleration. And this is extremely linear. When you accelerate, there's, you know, it's just nice and slow. And you know what? You're not in a race driving something like this. But just be aware, if you're trying to pull out into traffic or something, and there's a car approaching quickly, I'd wait, because you're probably not going to make that guy very happy, because you're not going to get up to speed as quick as what he would expect. Charge-wise, standard is 50 kilowatts. You can get an optional 115 kilowatt charging for level 2, 9.6 for level 1. For the 115 kilowatt, it'll do 10 to 80% in 42 minutes. Pretty well standard nowadays. Range-wise, this is where it makes a big difference compared to some of its competitors. We have a 113 kilowatt hour battery underneath this Sprinter, and that gives you 206 miles or 331 kilometers. And so far, I've noticed that it's fairly accurate. Once again, haven't been actually carrying a lot of stuff in here. If you want to tow, by the way, you can go up to 5,000 pounds on this. Now, to possibly get even more range out of your eSprinter, you can play with the regen settings, and there are quite a few. There's 5 different steps. So we have paddle shifters on the steering wheel. We can go plus all the way, and that's basically going to let us coast. And the minus on the left side is going to add regen. So we have 2 different steps there as well. When I hold it down, I go into auto, and that's going to use the front radar sensor. And as we approach vehicles, like we've seen in other auto regen systems, it's going to activate then. I think it's the best of all worlds. There is no one pedal driving for this, and the auto, as we come up to a vehicle right here, it's slowed down by itself. It will not stop though, so just be aware of that. Regardless if you're driving the diesel or the eSprinter, the experience is similar in terms of, for instance, seating position. You ride nice and high. Lots of glass here. It's very easy to drive, especially having that digital rear view mirror. That's a big plus. Otherwise, you'd have to rely solely on your side mirrors, which this is equipped with power folding side mirrors as well. Lots of adjustment for the seats. They're not power in that aspect, but you do have lumbar control. We mentioned the heat. Now, Cynthia was in here. We had to actually run a few errands. We just basically went and returned some cans and recycling things, and we had to take this. And she admitted, she goes, this was a lot more comfortable than she expected. Now, she didn't drive it, but in the passenger seat, yeah, it's comfy. It's comfy because it's quiet, and unless you are going over a lot of speed bumps, which it's, of course, it's a big vehicle. The front is quite stiff, and we don't have a load in, so it can be a little bit abrupt on that. But other than that, it's a comfortable vehicle. I can see why Sprinters are so popular. Regular Sprinter, 2,500 diesel starts at $75,000 Canadian, by the way. This eSprinter is, with the higher output motor, is just under $100,000, $99,500 or so. $1,500 less for the standard motor, but let's just round it up to $100,000. So you're talking $25,000 more than the diesel. Yeah, you're like, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of customization you can do in the back, because remember, you're going to have to do some things back there as well. But depending on where you live, right now, like in Canada, this qualifies as a medium to heavy duty commercial vehicle, and there are rebates out there in Canada, $10,000. So now, instead of $25K, you're looking at only $15,000. Still, that's still a lot more for a little bit less capability. So now it comes down to the fuel savings. Okay, I did some rough calculations here. For the diesel Sprinter, we're talking, if this is driven every day, which a lot of courier trucks are driven every day, and I got these numbers from my local courier drivers in my neighborhood, so the UPS guy, the FedEx guy, and they say they only drive about 125, maybe 150 kilometers a day, because they're in their own little territory, their little area. Okay, so based on that, I calculated they're going to use about 24 liters of fuel per day. So multiply that by $1.75 a liter, or $6.80 a gallon. That's what the current cost is right now, and that gives you $42 a day. Multiply that by 365 days, and you get $15,330 of fuel costs for that diesel Sprinter. Go to the eSprinter now. Same thing, same parameters, driving the same kilometers, 365 days. You're going to use about 40 kilowatts of electricity per day. And based on even my home rate right now is 14 cents per kilowatt, which gives you $5.60 a day, opposed to the $42 a day for the diesel. And multiply that by 365, and you get $2,044 of electricity used to operate the same amount of kilometers or miles, same amount of days, and that's a savings of $13,286. What did we say the difference was after the $10,000 rebate? Well, $15,000, but that's the rebate comes after tax. So, let's just be really conservative and just say you could feasibly make up the difference of this eSprinter in easily, you know, a year and a half, maybe even a year. It all depends. The more you drive it, the more K that you're putting on, the more money you're saving, and it's going to pay for it for itself quicker than that. So, you know what? It's a tough call. You know, I have no need for one of these, but if I were a courier driver or owned a courier company, I would highly consider adding, you know, a couple of these to my fleet to try it out, because I think the numbers really do make sense. So yeah, I've always loved the Sprinter. I like the eSprinter. I think there is a place for this in the market for sure, and you know, it's just going to get better. Hopefully we see a passenger version of this. I'm sure there will be down the future, but yeah, what do you think of large commercial vehicles with electric only? I think it's a good idea. So that's it. Hope to see you in the next review. Ciao. Like always, if you like this video or any other content on this channel, I've got a lot of videos out there, not just for cars, by the way. We have tech stuff, even automated lawnmowers and travel reviews as well. Hit that like and subscribe button. First of all, it doesn't cost anything. It's absolutely free. I do all of this free of charge for you, and I pay everything out of my own pocket for the gas and everything else, and of course the time. So if you could hit that like and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated.